It's such a difficult topic. I think it's simply put that we've got a long way to go. That is unacceptable. It's not a judgment call.
Cheryl Reeve has officially made headlines after publicly expressing her frustration over the recent WNBA All-Star voting results. The veteran coach didn't hold back, directly criticizing the Indiana Fever and other WNBA coaches for what she believes was a clear injustice. Known for her championship pedigree and competitive spirit, Reeve's comments have sparked a wave of reactions across the league, leaving no doubt that tensions around this year's All-Star selections are at an all-time high.
There was also quite a bit of bitterness coming from Team USA's coach Cheryl Reeves when she was asked pretty much any questions about Caitlin Clark. And she was asked if there was any second guessing from her on Caitlin Clark not making the team, and she very just spitefully says no. Doesn't elaborate on it, just says no. And it's funny to me how even she coached this game, because if you didn't think Caitlin Clark was the caliber of player that she is, then why would you feel the need to face guard her, to trap her, to defend her like you did?
But is this really about fairness, or is there something much deeper beneath the surface? Because the comments Cheryl Reeve made, and the people she directed them toward, have sent shockwaves through the entire league. So why has the reaction been so fierce? Why does it feel like everyone is suddenly turning against her? Let's break it all down.
I've never seen nothing like this before. Caitlin Clark is a menace, man. She literally kicked Cheryl Reeves off the team. It's my team. Get out of here. Cheryl Reeves, you asked for it. You asked for it. So now Sandy Brondello will be coaching Caitlin Clark's team, and Cheryl Reeves is going to be coaching the Feast and Collier's team. This is insane right here. And it's like, yo, Cheryl Reeves, I get it. You have the best record in the WNBA so far. You want as many plays that you can on the All-Star team. You probably want Kayla McBride there. You probably want Alana Smith there, half your bench and all of that. But my thing about it is that at the end of the day, it's still supposed to be fun and games.
It all started like any typical All-Star season, until it didn't. This year's All-Star selections sparked a controversy that's still spreading throughout the league. And right at the center of this growing firestorm, Cheryl Reeve.
The team's hilarious. And not only that, she traded her coach. Her coach. So she was originally meant to play for Cheryl Reeve. You guys don't know who Cheryl Reeve? She was the Team USA coach who basically has said a bunch of negative things on social media about Caitlin Clark, who had like a bad write-up in Christine Brennan's book, then deleted all the tweets and she deleted a bunch of tweets, said the tweets never existed in the first place, and yeah, basically is now saying Christine Brennan is a liar. And by the way,
the highly respected Minnesota Lynx head coach and leader of Team USA, Cheryl Reeve, didn't just voice her disagreement with the All-Star voting results. She took it a step further. Reeve openly criticized the entire system, called out her fellow coaches, and didn't hold back when mentioning the Indiana Fever by name.
The WNBA All-Star Draft was fun between Caitlin Clark and Nafisa Collier, the team captains picking the players, picking the rosters. But the most interesting aspect was the coach swap, because Clark traded Cheryl Reeve, who was the coach of her team, or was to be the coach of her team, to Collier for Sandy Brondello, the coach of the New York Liberty. Of course, Reeve is Collier's head coach for the Minnesota Lynx, so that makes sense. But the drama is going to come from Reeve having previously been critical on social media about the amount of attention Clark received relative to the rest of the league, not to mention being the coach of Team USA that Caitlin Clark was so famously snubbed from.
Here's where things really took a turn. The Indiana Fever, the very team Cheryl Reeve publicly criticized, ended up with 3 players selected for the All-Star game: Caitlin Clark, Aaliyah Boston, and Kelsey Mitchell. Meanwhile, Reeve's own Minnesota Lynx weren't quite as fortunate. And to make matters worse for Reeve, fans weren't exactly sympathetic to her frustrations.
What she wrote is fiction. And if she were paying attention, one of the things that I have done for years is held the league accountable for their missteps, mishaps, their lack of representation of all teams. And so that particular situation had nothing to do with Caitlin Clark, and had everything to do with a WNBA social media post that promoted one preseason game and not all preseason games. And so I simply said that, and by the way, the Minnesota Lynx are playing the Chicago Sky, which, also had some popular player in Angel Reese that people were interested in. And it simply wasn't posted on their account.
Not long ago, Cheryl Reeve didn't seem to have any second thoughts about leaving Caitlin Clark off Team USA. When reporters asked if she regretted the decision, her response was brief and final. No explanation, no further comment. But when the All-Star selections were announced and Reeve suddenly had plenty to say, it didn't take long for fans to call her out. Many felt the sudden shift in tone seemed more personal than professional.
Requested that trade. Look, I don't even think it was a request. I think Caitlin just straight out said, hey, get off, man. You know what? I don't care about any rules. She's off my team, man. Oh, man. Players can trade coaches. What is this, the NBA? Cece do what Reeves was about to do to her team. Yeah. Go get her off, man. Go get her off. You talking about the coach that could give 2 S about talking about Caitlin Clark? You talking about the coach that is disappointed in the All-Star voting? Nah, man. Look, get her out of there, man.
But then things took an unexpected turn, and it made this entire situation even more dramatic. Caitlin Clark was originally set to be coached by Cheryl Reeve during the All-Star game. However, during the live draft, Clark made a surprising decision that sent shockwaves across the WNBA. She chose to trade Cheryl Reeve for New York Liberty head coach Sandy Brondello. Right there, live on air. No hesitation, no theatrics. Just a quiet but powerful move. And the reaction from fans? Absolutely explosive.
To be completely honest, I love my team. I think they're great. I don't have any intentions of really trading any of them. I don't know if this is in the rules. I don't really care. But I think we've already discussed we are going to trade coaches. Fee's going to take her coach, Sandy Brondello. Let's get it. It's going to be amazing. Sorry, WNBA, if that's not in the rule. Sorry, ESPN, if that's not in the rules, but we just made it a rule. So, Sandy Brondello, come on over.
Whoa!
Let's get to it. You can coach Sabrina. So therefore, maybe Stewie wants to come on over to my team.
Whoa.
Let me know. Fee, you want to give me Stewie?
We have breaking news here. I don't know that I've heard of a coach being traded in the All-Star game. This is something that you're agreeing to, Fee. There's no terms to this deal.
Suddenly, this conversation wasn't just about All-Star selections anymore. It became a conversation about power. A rising superstar flipping the narrative on a veteran coach who's been considered untouchable for years. And let's be clear, this wasn't some random decision. Caitlin Clark isn't just another player, she's a cultural phenomenon. She's been the driving force behind skyrocketing ratings, sold-out arenas, viral highlights, and a surge in merchandise sales. Meanwhile, Cheryl Reeve doesn't seem to be adjusting well to this shift in attention. But this goes beyond any personal rivalry. This is about something bigger, the battle between the old guard and the new generation. Reeve symbolizes the traditional WNBA model, structured systems, defensive discipline, and coaches calling the shots. Clark, on the other hand, represents the future. Dynamic, bold, bringing deep three-pointers, personality, social media buzz, and most importantly, fans who are showing up in record numbers. So when Clark and her Indiana Fever teammates dominated the All-Star voting, it wasn't a fluke. It was a message, a clear sign that the WNBA isn't preparing for change. It's already in the middle of it.
Now you're going to complain about her having more teammates than your players on the court? Yeah, get this team. Embarrassing. I know she was embarrassed. I don't care what nobody say. I know she was embarrassed. And she had it coming. Now all we need is Caitlin Clark's team to win. And if I don't know if y'all caught it or not, but she definitely said Sandy likes to shoot threes and run. Yo, Stephanie White, you might want to be careful out there.
While Cheryl Reeve may believe she's strategizing like a chess master, the rest of the league feels like it's playing an entirely different game. One that's moving faster and getting a lot more attention. But this situation truly reached a boiling point after the Lynx suffered a tough loss to the Indiana Fever in the Commissioner's Cup. A game that actually carried real stakes and meaning for both teams.
Howard right elbow, dump pass, Boston, left post, banks it in, and AB is fired up. Kelsey, she's a closer, passes, Cunningham tees up a left side three, and connects! Sophie Portres Puntos. There's the horn. Final score, Fever 74, Lynx 59. And for the first time in franchise history, the Indiana Fever are WNBA Commissioner's Cup champion.
Following that loss, Cheryl Reeve didn't hold back in her post-game comments. She voiced her frustration publicly, claiming that her players weren't given the respect they deserve and pointed the finger at the All-Star selection process as the source of the problem.
Playing like an all-star is good. That's why they selected her. I don't know why only Fee and Courtney are all-stars when you have the best team in the league by a few games. There are teams that are below us in the standings by a lot that have 3 all-stars. Historically, teams at the top get minimum of 3, oftentimes 4. So really disappointing, really happy for Courtney. The obvious one was Fee, but we are disappointed in the coaches voting with regard to their selections for All-Stars.
But from the fans' perspective, this situation looked a little different. To them, it wasn't about fairness, it was about a coach trying to rewrite the narrative after getting thoroughly outplayed on national television. The scoreboard told the truth. Indiana controlled that game from start to finish. And now, the same coach who left Caitlin Clark off the Olympic roster is suddenly upset about fan votes in an exhibition game? Let's be honest. This isn't really about fairness. It's about the reality that control is shifting fast. The league isn't just evolving, it's racing into a new era. Meanwhile, coaches like Cheryl Reeve are struggling to keep up. And here's something that's rarely said out loud. This conversation isn't just about basketball. The All-Star Game has never been purely about stats or merit. It's always been about the fans. They vote for who they want to see, plain and simple. This year they wanted Caitlin Clark. They wanted the Fever. They wanted excitement and energy. If Reeves players were left off the roster, maybe it's because they're not delivering those viral moments, not making headlines, and not moving the culture forward. And that's a tough pill to swallow for someone who's been such a key figure in this league for so long. So what does this tell us about where the WNBA is headed? It's clear now. The fans are in control. Not the coaches, not the gatekeepers, not the traditionalists. Caitlin Clark's impact is undeniable. She hasn't just joined the league, she's reshaped it. And no post-game rant is going to slow down that momentum. Cheryl Reeve's comments weren't about standing up for fairness. They were the reaction of someone realizing they're being left behind by a league moving in a new direction. So what's your take? Is Reeve justified in her frustration? Or is this simply a case of refusing to embrace the future? Let us know what you think down in the comments. And if you're supporting this new era of WNBA excitement, make sure to hit that like button and subscribe. This story isn't over, not even close.
Yo, did y'all see Caitlin's face, bro? She was like, nobody cares. Yo, that is hilarious, man. Man, I lost my mind when they said that.
Caitlin Clark just made headlines by swapping out her all-star coach during a live broadcast.
The WNBA All-Star Draft was fun between Caitlin Clark and Nafisa Collier, the team captains picking the players, picking the rosters. But the most interesting aspect was the coach swap.
The very coach rumored to have played a role in keeping Caitlin Clark off the Olympic roster is now out. And the way it all unfolded, live in front of millions, has sent shockwaves through the entire WNBA community.
It's hilarious. And not only that, she traded her coach. Her coach. So she was originally meant to play for Cheryl Reeve. You guys don't know who Cheryl Reeve? She was the Team USA coach who basically has said a bunch of negative things on social media about Caitlin Clark, who had like a bad write-up in Christine Brennan's book, then deleted all the tweets and she deleted a bunch of tweets, said the tweets never existed in the first place, and yeah, basically is now saying Christine Brennan is a liar. And by the way,
what led Caitlin Clark to pull off one of the boldest moves in WNBA All-Star history? And more importantly, what does it reveal about who truly holds the power in the league today? It all started when the WNBA announced that Caitlin Clark and Nafisa Collier would serve as team captains for this year's highly anticipated All-Star Game.
The This isn't just WNBA Countdown. Oh no, this is the 2025 WNBA All-Star Draft. We are moments away from finding out which All-Stars will suit up for Team Clark and who will suit up for Team Collier next weekend in Indianapolis.
Most fans were tuned in, eager to see which players would be drafted first, and who might surprisingly be left out. But what no one could have predicted was the bold move Caitlin Clark made live on ESPN. Instead of making a typical player-for-player trade, Clark made headlines by swapping her coach.
To be completely honest, I love my team. I think they're great. I don't have any intentions of really trading any of them. I don't know if this is in the rules. I don't really care. But I think we've already discussed we are going to trade coaches. Fee's going to take her coach, Sandy Brondello. Let's get it.
Oh.
It's going to be amazing. Sorry, WNBA, if that's not in the rule. Sorry, ESPN, if that's not in the rules, but we just made it a rule.
Now.
So, Sandy Brondello, come on over.
Whoa.
Let's get to it. You can coach Sabrina. So therefore, maybe Stewie wants to come on over to my team.
Whoa.
Let me know. Fee, you want to give me Stewie?
We have breaking
Let me know.
news here. I don't know that I've heard of a coach being traded in the All-Star game. This is something you're agreeing to, Fee. There's no terms to this deal.
Cheryl Reeve, head coach of the Minnesota Lynx, and the person originally selected to coach Caitlin Clark's All-Star team, was suddenly out of the picture. In her place, Clark chose Sandy Brondello, head coach of the New York Liberty, to take over.
In the first ever coach trade of any All-Star game ever. Just want to get your thoughts on that in your mind. First for you, Leo.
They announced it? Yeah. That you got traded? Yeah. Oh, I got to go look at all that. Traded? I have no idea what the teams are. Second time in history now. Geez, as a player. And I got traded, yes. My son hit me up. After he goes, I've created history. This is awesome. I got traded as a coach. But look, I get to coach with Sabrina. I'm on Caitlin Clark's in Indianapolis. I mean, what a great show. So we'll go out there and have some fun.
But this wasn't just a routine swap. It felt personal. The backstory here stretches over months of quiet tension between Caitlin Clark and Cheryl Reeve. Reeve isn't just any coach. She's been one of Clark's most outspoken critics. From subtle jabs on social media to downplaying Clark's impact publicly, she's made her stance clear. And when asked about Clark's absence from the Olympic roster, Reeve stayed silent. Despite being the head coach of Team USA, fans still remember that now infamous post, 12 teams. The W is more than one player. Many saw that as a direct shot at Clark, right as she was breaking viewership records and driving the league's momentum forward. At the time, Clark didn't respond. But she clearly didn't forget. So when it came time to build her all-star roster, she made her move and didn't hesitate.
That trade, look, I don't even think it was a request. I think Caitlin just straight out said, hey, get off, man. I don't care about any rules. She's off my team, man. Oh, man, players can trade coaches. What is this, the NBA? CC do what Reeves was about to do to her team. Yeah, go get her off, man. Go get her off. You talking about the coach that could give 2 S about talking about Caitlin Clark? You talking about the coach that is disappointed in the All-Star voting? Nah, man. Look, get her out of there, man.
During the live ESPN broadcast, Caitlin Clark casually leaned into the microphone and said with a smile, "I'm not sure if this is even allowed, but honestly, I don't really care. We're trading coaches." Just like that, everything changed.
I don't know if this is in the rules. I don't really care. But I think we've already discussed we are going to trade coaches. Fee's going to take her coach, Sandy Brondello. Let's get it.
And just like that, Cheryl Reeve was out and Sandy Brondello was officially in. The broadcast team struggled to process what had just happened. The crowd reacted with shock. Even Reeve herself seemed completely caught off guard. As for the fans, they absolutely loved it.
But the most interesting aspect was the coach swap, because Clark traded Cheryl Reeve, who was the coach of her team, or was to be the coach of her team, to Collier for Sandy Brondello, the coach of the New York Liberty. Of course, Reeve is Collier's head coach for the Minnesota Lynx, so that makes sense. But the drama is going to come from Reeve having previously been critical on social media about the amount of attention Clark received relative to the rest of the league, not to mention being the coach of Team USA that Caitlin Clark was so famously snubbed from.
Social media lit up with comments like, "Clark just replaced her biggest critic." But this wasn't just about flexing power. It was about standing tall and showing confidence without apology. And Caitlin Clark wasn't finished yet. After swapping out Cheryl Reeve, she shifted her focus to the draft itself. What she built from there sent a clear message to the entire league. This wasn't just about forming an all-star roster. This was about building a team rooted in trust, loyalty, and a winning mentality. Her first selection? Aaliyah Boston, her Indiana Fever teammate, and someone who has had her back from the very start.
First pick in the 2025 WNBA All-Star Draft, Team Clark selects.
I know this will be super surprising to everybody watching, but I'm going with my teammate, Aaliyah Boston, baby.
We're putting Aaliyah Boston
Welcome,
up on
AB.
the board here. Aaliyah Boston going here to Team Clark. Remember, Aaliyah has been on opposite teams with Nafisa Collier in each of her first 3 All-Star appearances, and that tradition, keeping it up this year as she's joining her teammate Caitlin Clark. She's been an All-Star selection in each of her first 3 seasons in the league. She's the 9th player in the league history to be an All-Star in each of their first 3 seasons.
Next, she selected Kelsey Mitchell, completing the core trio from the Indiana Fever and keeping their strong on-court chemistry fully intact.
All right, Caitlin, going back to you here at number 6.
All right, I'm going the same route as Fee. I'm taking Kelsey Mitchell.
Good call.
Happy to have her on the squad.
Kelsey Mitchell off the board. So we're going with a pair of teammates here to start the second round of our 2025 WNBA All-Star Draft. It's the 3rd straight All-Star selection for Kelsey Mitchell, one of 4 players to average 15 or more points in each of the last 6 seasons. And since the start of last season, Caitlin, you've assisted Kelsey on 39 three-pointers, the 3rd most by any scorer assist duo in that.
Up next, Caitlin Clark rounded out her roster with smart, intentional picks. Sabrina Ionescu, Satu Sabali, Gabby Williams, Jackie Young, and of course, Aja Wilson. Notice the pattern here. She steered clear of any players who've taken public shots at her. No controversy, no unnecessary headlines. Just teammates she trusts, athletes she respects, and winners she's either supported or shared the court with in the past. Before long, fans were already giving her squad a new nickname, Team Vibes.
Clark, it really is going to be Team Vibes if Aja Wilson's down. Like, if Aja's down, it really is going to be Team Vibes. But my favorite part about all this was her trading the coach. Like, she actually was like, you know what, I don't want to play for Cheryl Reeve. Let me go and trade her coach. Let me go and trade the coach. Because it's something that literally, and Caitlin made sure to say, like, I don't care if this is against the rules, we're trading the coach. We're trading the coach. I don't know if it's against the rules, but I don't think they really seem to care.
Some fans even called it no haters allowed. Whatever nickname sticks, one thing was clear. This roster wasn't just loaded with talent, it carried a message. Caitlin Clark made it known. If you've supported me, I've got your back. But if you've tried to tear me down, you're not part of this.
Caitlin Clark was supposed to be coached by Minnesota Lynx head coach Cheryl Reeve. Nafisa Collier was supposed to be coached by New York Liberty head coach Sandy Brondello. They swapped coaches. Cheryl Reeve, dodged the bullet. Thank God I don't need to coach Caitlin Clark, man. Man, I can't deal with that. I would have had to swallow so much pride, I can't do that. Fee, she probably called him the Fee, talk to Caitlin, please. I can't coach her, I can't do it. This book's about to come out. You know what they're gonna be saying if I'm coaching Caitlin Clark and the book's out? Oh, God. Fee, please. And then Sandy Bordello's like, oh yeah, this is good.
Meanwhile, Cheryl Reeve could only watch as it all played out. The same coach who once took subtle shots at Caitlin Clark's popularity and downplayed her impact was now being passed over. And by the very player she once underestimated.
I don't think they really seem to care. Like, I'd say Cheryl Reeve didn't want to coach Caitlin Clark. I'd say Fee wanted to play for Cheryl Reeve. And Caitlin Clark didn't want to play for Cheryl Reeve. She was happy to play for Sandy Brondello. Which I'm surprised. I think it was like the exact game.
To make matters even more interesting, Cheryl Reeve is now set to coach the opposing All-Star team, a group that includes players who haven't exactly been shy about their opinions on Caitlin Clark. It's a moment filled with irony, and fans are loving every second of it. Let's be honest, this wasn't just about picking players. This was Clark flipping the script. After months of staying silent through criticism, questionable officiating, media jabs, and even tensions within her own league, she finally used the platform she's earned. And she used it with confidence. Caitlin Clark didn't just build an all-star roster. She sent a clear message to the entire WNBA. She's no longer playing by anyone else's rules. She's done ignoring the politics. And she's certainly done letting others like Cheryl Reeve control the narrative around her career. This is a turning point. A new era where Clark is writing her own story. And if anyone has a problem with that, well, they're simply not part of her team. Where do you stand? Are you backing Caitlin Clark or siding with Cheryl Reeve? Share your thoughts in the comments below. One thing's for sure, like this year's All-Star game just got a whole lot more interesting.